Welcome back, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to try to color eggs using natural things instead of having to buy one of those kits. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to try 4 different ones. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to color some eggs purple, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to be purple or a different color. So I'm going to use some red cabbage. And then I'm going to use some turmeric, which I think is going to color them either orange or yellow. And then I'm going to use some hibiscus tea, which I'm hoping for a nice red color, and some parsley to see if we can get it green. All right, so if you're lucky enough to have chickens that lay different color eggs, then you don't have to even go through this process. So my husband's grandmother used to have chickens, and they used to lay all different colored eggs, so that was fun. And a lot of times I buy brown eggs, but for this, I do have white eggs so that we can try this out. So what I'm thinking is I need a cup of vinegar per cup here. But I think I'm going to put what I want to have it, I'm going to put the turmeric in first, the hibiscus in first, and then I'm going to do the vinegar, kind of like when you put in the tablets when you color eggs. So let's see what happens. I think I'm going to need 2 tea bags, I think. So we'll try the hibiscus first. And I had contemplated taking the hibiscus out of, I just lost the top, out of the little bag to make it stronger, but then I decided, it'll probably be easier just to pull it out. So I'm going to do that. So this is the first time I'm doing this, but I've colored eggs before with the kits. So I'm thinking on the turmeric, I think I need about a ½ teaspoon of turmeric. That's what my guess is. Put that down there. And parsley, I'm hoping for some green eggs. Let's see what happens. And I'll probably just, I don't know, maybe the same amount. I think maybe a heaping, ½ teaspoon, half of a ½ teaspoon heaping amount there. So about that much. And then as far as the purple cabbage, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to take some purple cabbage and throw it at the bottom of here, and we'll see what happens. It might take a few minutes. And then I'm going to add the vinegar. And I'm pretty sure I need a cup, because I think I've measured this out before, and I think this is like the perfect, yep. All right, so I'm just gonna, that's a cup. So going forward, I'm just gonna pour to almost the top of this. Now that, I think we're gonna be most successful with this one. But let's see what happens. I'm not 100% sure about the parsley. We'll see. Now the vinegar helps release the color, and it also helps keep the color actually on the egg. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stir this up. This is going to, and this should turn red pretty easily, because 2 tea bags for only 8 ounces, that would be a lot. Okay, I'm going to rinse the spoon off before I go here, otherwise I'm going to be mixing colors. Okay. That one's probably almost ready. Okay, I don't see anything happening with this parsley. Parsley might not be the right one to make a green egg. I'm just going to grab out another spoon for the cabbage, and then oh yeah, the cabbage actually is starting to turn purple. Okay, that's good, because I was thinking I might have to go ahead and heat it up, but it doesn't look like it. So I think we might be okay with that. I think the only thing that might not work is this parsley, because I don't see it turning green. Okay, so while we're contemplating if that's going to turn green or not, I'm going to show you. I always save these every year. So you can have multiple people coloring eggs, multiple kids coloring eggs. So I have these that I saved. So if you don't have these, you could use like a spoon or something like that. So I think I'm going to put, because I think the turmeric one's ready. Let's just put the egg in there and see what happens. We're just going to let it set in there for a while. And this, we're going to hibiscus. We're going to maybe just let that set just here longer. And so I'm going to go ahead and take a little break, and I will be back shortly. Okay, it's been 3 minutes. So we're not really getting anywhere with the parsley, but I haven't heated it up either. So I don't know if that's a thing, that maybe I should be heating it up. Now I'm going to put this egg into my tea bag one, the one with the hibiscus tea. And we're going to kind of peek on the turmeric one. And it's starting to turn it a little bit, but not that much. So let's put it back in there. As I said, it's only been 3 minutes. I think I'm going to put the egg in the purple cabbage. And it's going to be, if that comes out, it's going to be a light purple. Also, I did not heat up the cabbage, so it might need to be heated up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk over to the microwave. I'm going to pause it. Walk over to the microwave, try to heat this up and see if we get any progress. Okay, so I put this in the microwave for 1 minute and it's done really nothing. So I'm not going to do this one because it's not working. So I'm going to try to find an alternative in my kitchen. In the meantime, let's take a peek at the turmeric one. I'm just going to kind of, well, I will just use this here. We're making progress, but it's still not very colorful. It's kind of looking kind of cool though. And let me just rinse this off really quick, because I'm anxious to see what the hibiscus tea, whoops, it's probably going to stain everything but the egg. Okay, so now it's just looking like a very light pink. So let's just put it back in there. And maybe this all needs to be hot, but when you color eggs, you don't get them hot. I'm just going to leave this one in, and we're going to try for another green one. So I'm going to go check out my cupboard and see what I have. Okay, so I went looking in the cupboard, and I decided I'm going to try some Mexican oregano. And this is like a half a teaspoon, so heaping half a teaspoon. And then let's try the vinegar. I think this might work better, but I don't know. Let's try it. Oh, the oregano smells really good. Okay. Mix this up. Okay, that dissolved pretty well. So let's just let that sit a little while. Let me just see, because I might need to mix it up more. Well, the turmeric is turning my white paper towel yellow, and the hibiscus tea is turning the white paper towel pink. All right, let's put an egg in here and just see what happens. We're just going to leave it in here. I'm just going to let these set for a little while, and we'll check back in just a bit. All right, so this is taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but what I can tell you for sure is my parsley flakes in the vinegar Doesn't work at all. That's not going to work. I have the hibiscus tea. Let's take a look. And this is 2 tea bags for only 8 ounces. It's starting to definitely turn color. It's not like very vibrant. And for some reason in some areas it's still white. So I don't know if these eggs, these are store-bought eggs. I don't know if they're like, they put something on them or rinse them off or some sort of cleaner that would affect it. I have no idea. The turmeric, part of my problem is I'm getting, it's actually looking pretty good as far as the nice yellow color, but there's also specks of turmeric. So maybe when it dries, it'll be fine. And now we switched to the oregano instead of the parsley. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. And this is kind of speckled green. But I don't really see the egg itself turning green. So now let's look at our cabbage. All right, so this has not done anything. So I'm going to take this egg out. I'm going to take this cabbage and I'm going to take it to the microwave and I'm going to heat it up to see if I can get the color to come out more. So I'll go do that and I'll be right back. All right, so I got this out of the microwave and it looks like we're making progress with the color. So I'm going to take a spoon and kind of just stir it around. The vinegar's still kind of fizzy, so that's a good thing. But see, what I really didn't want to do is I'm going to have to wait for this to cool off before I put my egg back in here because I don't really want to cook my egg longer because I went ahead and made the hard-boiled egg just the way I like it. So, but the color is coming out. So I guess we'll just let this sit here and then when it cools down, I'll put the egg in there and let's double check and see how we're doing on these other ones. Okay, the hibiscus is definitely turning color, but not very vibrant. The turmeric one's looking good as far as the color is concerned, but I don't know about these speckles. It actually might look pretty cool. I don't know. Let's put it back in there. And it's interesting because if I roll it around, there's some white spots still. And let's check out our oregano. Our oregano one might be okay. We'll have to leave it in there longer. So let's let this cool off. Let's let this set longer. This is not in a very fast process. Whereas when you get them from the store and you have your little tablets with your vinegar, it goes really, really very quickly. So we'll check back in just a little bit and see where we're at. Okay, so let's put the egg back in there. Of course, we're going to have stuff almost the same color. But I'm just curious to see if it's going to work. All right, so let's go back and check these. So we have the one with the hibiscus tea. And that is definitely turning it color, but I don't know if I really like the look of it. And then let's check the turmeric. And it's definitely turning color, but it's also kind of speckled and somewhat strange looking. Let's check the oregano. I was changing spoons, but at this point I don't think I need to. And this looks really odd, but I'm just wondering if I rinse it off how it would look because it has the spices stuck on there. So I'm just going to wait a little longer, then we're going to check on all these, and then we might rinse these two off just because it doesn't look very nice in an Easter basket with little spices stuck to the egg. So we'll check back in just a few. All right, so let's pull out what we have. So we have the oregano, which is interesting and speckled. Don't really like the color that much. I'm not overly fond with the color. It's like a, it's not like a very bright green. I thought if it could just turn it all this color, I mean, at least I'd know that it worked. All right, I'm going to rinse off this oregano. And then let's try the turmeric. So the interesting thing about this turmeric, like that speckledness kind of looks cool, but then on the other side, and as you know, it was all submersed part of it is, maybe it's just because it doesn't really dissolve great in vinegar. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So put that aside. And then let's try to pull out the one from the hibiscus tea. And this is just an odd, this is like a burgundy color. You know, I was trying to go for red. This is definitely burgundy. Hey, though, it's not looking too bad as it's kind of coming out of there and drying. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting look. Okay, now we tried the cabbage. Didn't work. Then I heated up the cabbage. And really, I just have this light color. Now, maybe I was supposed to heat it up a lot longer. That didn't really work, but the turmeric actually is not a bad yellow. You can see it. The hibiscus looks a little strange. The oregano one, I'm actually, as it's drying, I'm actually kind of liking it. It's looking kind of interesting. Has an interesting texture to it because of the spices and stuff. So I think I'm gonna, this one is a little, it is a little bit purple. I think I'm gonna go to the store and see if I definitely need more vinegar. Go to the store, see if I can find some other items to use to color these eggs. And we will try that out. Okay, so I want to mention, as I'm cleaning this up, look at all the color, though, that has gotten on the paper towel. So that's kind of interesting, I think. I mean, especially from the hibiscus tea and the turmeric. So it's kind of interesting that it's staining the paper towel really, really good, well. But, like, if you look at the egg, look at the difference. Like, I thought I could get the egg looking like that, and I didn't. So it's just kind of an interesting project. So when I was a kid, I used to do experiments in the kitchen. I used to take flour and water and make all types of what I would call concoctions up. My mom wasn't thrilled with it. My father encouraged it. So we are just experimenting in the kitchen, and I hope I find one that gives us an egg with vibrant color. All right, so I went to the store today and I found some grape juice, and I actually had some cran raspberry, which is going to be pretty red because cranberries and raspberries. I couldn't find anything else that's green, but I did want to share with you, this is very interesting. Once these eggs that I did yesterday sat in the fridge, they actually kind of look cool. So this was the one with the turmeric, and this was the one with the hibiscus tea, and this was the one with the oregano. So it actually kind of looks cool. And this was the one with the purple cabbage. So it's kind of interesting. They actually look kind of nice. They look very different and kind of a little bit like of a pattern on them. So let's see if we can get some ones with a little bit more vibrant color. So I'm gonna, and this one I'm gonna put some grape juice, and then I'm gonna fill the rest up with the vinegar. And I think maybe I better mix it up a little. A little bit higher. Mix this up. And then I'm going to do the cran raspberry. With the vinegar. I think I need need to put some more of that raspberry. I don't want to go over the top because once I put the egg in there, it's going to take up room. But this was the size I had. And then how about on the last one, we mix the cranberry with the grape? Why not? That's not as red as I thought it was going to be, actually. It looks, in the bottle, it looks more red. Okay, now let's put the vinegar. Okay, so we got grape, cran raspberry, and grape. And we're going to put this in here. Whoops, kind of splashed a little. Maybe I better kind of gently lower it. Ooh, that's close. Better gently lower it in this one too. Okay, so let's just wait a few minutes and we'll check back. I'm going to get my little thing to fish out the eggs. Okay, I just remembered that I was going to try chili powder too. So let's do that. So I have a little over a half of a teaspoon of chili. And I'm just letting these sit for like at least 5 minutes. We'll see. The only problem I find with the spices is it doesn't really dissolve very well. Oh, there's 5 minutes. Excuse the timer. That's okay. I think we're going to leave it in. We'll take a peek in a second. But let's get the vinegar in this one. And then we'll stir it around and then we'll check those other eggs. Stir this around, and this looks more brown than red to me. This is hot chili powder. So this is not like the type of, if you were doing it from scratch. I'm just using chili powder. That's dissolving better than I thought it was going to. So let's put an egg in here. Be interesting to see how it comes out. All right, let's check after the 5 minutes. So we have the cran raspberry. Whoops. That's turning it a little bit, not much. And then we have our, oh no, this was the grape juice, excuse me. This was the cran raspberry. That did not do anything, okay. And now here's the combination of the two. Nope, nothing yet. So let's wait and see what we get. Okay, so I have one more egg. I'm letting this stand, and I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of vinegar. Kind of do the opposite of what I've been doing. So I'm going to do, I'm actually using a measuring cup so I can measure it. Okay. So I got a 1/4 cup vinegar. And I think my best luck's going to be the grape juice, because I guarantee you if you spilt this on a white couch, it would stain for sure. Okay, so then I'm going to go, so I got a 1/4 cup vinegar, and then I'm going to go with a cup of juice. Oops, okay. And now let's put the egg in here. Hopefully it gets immersed. Yep, it gets immersed. All right, so let's let this go a little longer and see what our results are. But I'm kind of pleased on this one with my yellow, and the green from the oregano actually is not a bad color. And the, no, that is not the oregano. This is the oregano. This was our hibiscus, which is odd that it turned it green. And this was our purple cabbage, which actually at one spot has like a blue tint. So it's kind of interesting. At the end of the video, I'll go over everything one more time. All right, so let's just give this a little bit of time and see how we do. Okay, so let's go and look at first the grape juice with the vinegar. So this was only like a 1/4 cup of vinegar, and the rest was the grape juice. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to set this aside here. That kind of looks cool. Now this one was our cran raspberry. No, this was, excuse me, this was our grape juice. This was our grape juice. And that looks pretty good, even doing it the other way. So it was not, it was the vinegar, mostly vinegar. So that was the grape juice with a little bit of vinegar, and that was the grape juice with a lot of the vinegar. And now we're going to go for the cran raspberry, which doesn't look like it did a whole lot, although there is some color on the outside. And then when we took the cran raspberry, mixed it with the grape, we got this one. And as these dry, they start to look more interesting. And that's what happened last night. So I had turned off the camera, I talked to you, I let it dry, it started looking better, I put it in the fridge, it started looking better yet. So it's very interesting. I think that the vinegar is still having a reaction. So that's part of what's going on here. So this one was the chili powder, and it looks speckled. So I'm going to let these dry 100%, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge, and then I'm going to film again tomorrow so we can see if it's changed at all. But so these colors to me look more like if you actually had a chicken. Different chickens lay different color eggs, and these colors actually look more natural instead of the vibrant colors that we're used to. But if you have a child that's very allergic to food coloring, this might be a real fun way for them to be able to color eggs and do it where it's more safe for them. So I will go ahead and let these cool down, put them in the fridge, and then we'll check back tomorrow and see if they've changed. Like I said, I think something to do with that vinegar. It has a reaction when it dries, because just as I'm looking at them now, they're looking a little bit different. So I'm going to attempt to label these so I don't get them all mixed up. These I could remember pretty easy, but these might be a little bit more difficult. So I better stop filming and label these, and we'll check back tomorrow. All right, so let's check out all the eggs. So we're going to start with showing you the turmeric one, which is my favorite. I really like the way that one came out. And then we have our oregano one, which I like the way that one came out. In the beginning, I wasn't sure, but once it dried and sat overnight, looks kind of cool. And then we have our hibiscus one, which is interesting. It came out this nice color green. Really like that. And then we had our purple cabbage, which ended up coming out kind of blue, so that's cool. And these are all really nice light pastel colors, look very natural, look more like an egg you would find actually from a chicken. And then we have our, just the plain cran raspberry. And that one didn't come out as good as I would have liked it. And then we have our hot chili powder. I labeled these, so I'm looking, make sure the hot chili powder. So that came out kind of interesting, kind of caused some speckles. And then we have our regular, the mostly vinegar and then the grape juice. That one, that came out kind of interesting looking. And then we had our cranberry raspberry with the grape. So that came out like this one. And then I decided to do it completely different and only used a 1/4 cup of vinegar and 3/4 cup of the grape juice. And that one came out really cool looking. So I kind of like that a little bit better. But I would say, I'll show you my favorites. The turmeric, the hibiscus, and the oregano. Those are my favorites. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This would be great if you have a child that is very allergic to food coloring. Even touching the food coloring would cause an issue. This is a great alternative. These are nice pastel colors. As you can see, they look, when you put them all together, they look really cool in the bowl. or in the basket or whatever. I've just put it in a white background just so everybody could really see. And in the future, I would love to do this video again using different things to color eggs. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching me experiment with these eggs. Hope everybody has a great day. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, Rhonda's Cooking at Home, I really appreciate it. And if you don't, I hope that you do. I have some fun baking videos and meals, and I really hope you subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a great day.